This lesson's on printing and some of the features you have available to you. If I go to print preview right now, I'm going to see that it's a little messy. So this is my first page, and it says here that I'm going to get 12 pages. So this is my first page. So I'm just going to hit page down to see what my next page is going to look like. Or next page works. This is my next page here. As you'll see, the titles are gone, so I have absolutely no idea what these columns refer to. And as I go further, here my titles are here, but I have no idea what's supposed to be on the left-hand side. And as you go further, all I'm getting are numbers, and it's really not going to help. If I print this, put it in a binder, and somebody tries to make sense of it, it's not going to work. Also, it's breaking at some really odd places, so we need to fix all of that. First of all, print titles. I want these titles to show up on every page. We learned how to freeze things and how to split things so that when we're working we see the titles. However, to print them, to have them show up when we print, that's a totally different thing. So in order to work on that, we're going to go to page layout, and we're going to go right away to print titles. And here's what I want to do. I want row 4 to be repeated, and I want column A to be repeated. So here it's asking, which row do you want to repeat at the top? It doesn't suffice to simply type 4. They want to know which rows. So they're assuming some kind of a range. I don't want a range. I only want 4 to 4. So I can type 4 to 4, but I have to type 4 to 4. And as far as columns on the left-hand side, I don't want more than one. Okay, I can have A and B where I would say A to B, but I don't. I want A all the way to A, and that's all I want. So I'm going to say go ahead. Now before we go anywhere, I want to show you here that grid lines is turned on. You probably want this on most of the time. If you don't, I'm going to show you how this is going to look. So we're going to go to print preview now. Now the good part is all of our labels are going to show up all the way through. Doesn't matter which page you're on, your labels are showing up. However, our grid lines aren't showing. Most people prefer the grid lines to be on. So you can turn the grid lines on from here, print grid lines, and that will work. When we get back to regular view, it's showing you where your pages will break. That's what these lines are. And for this particular example, they're breaking in a very strange place. I'm going to show you now how you can fix that. So I'm going to go back to view, and I'm going to go to a place called page break preview. So this enables you to change. It's telling you here that you can adjust where your pages break by clicking and dragging with your mouse. So here, if I want to eliminate one of the breaks, I can just drag that over, right? And then if I find that this is breaking too often, I can drag that over. And you can keep trying to manipulate this until it looks better than what you had originally. Now you may not have a choice here. You may have to go 4 by 2 and so I'm just dragging this along and it's adjusting. So at least now I'm going to have a substantial amount of stuff on every page. So when I actually go to print preview, I'm not going to have some real skinny pages that look silly. So I'm just scrolling through, and as you'll notice, my titles are being repeated on every page. So if I do put this in a binder, people will actually be able to read it and make sense of it. So those are two key features, okay? Repeating titles and the ability to set where your pages are going to break, and of course the grid lines is another thing that you'll want to use. Just going to close this, and one less important feature, in my humble opinion, is the use of headers and footers. However, if you have a multi-page document, you're probably going to want headers and footers. So I'm going to go to Insert here. That's where you're going to find your headers and footers, and I'm going to access headers and footers. And now you've gotten a whole new toolbar here that gives you tons of things that you can do with your headers and footers. Now, a lot of your great options are right here. These are predetermined, and they'll type them in for you. So now, depending on where you're working, etc., you have different choices as far as what's going to come up. I know that in many offices, because you may not remember exactly where you stored a document, it's sometimes a good idea, in your footer at least, to put which folder, which drive, and what the name of the file was that you were working on. That way, if you need to locate it anytime in the future, you can do that. You've of course got page of. Okay, so if there's, it'll count for you, so you can use that, and it knows that there's 8, and if you add or delete pages, that'll adjust automatically. So if I want to go to my footer now, I can say go to the footer, sorry, here. So now that I'm in my footer, I'm actually having a tough time going to footer. When I click it, it brings me to the bottom of the document, and I'm not having an area where I can work with my footer, and my toolbar is gone. So until I can resolve this, I strongly recommend that when you've done your header, if you want to work on your footer, rather than use this button, which doesn't seem to be working, use this button and find what it is you'd like to put in your footer. So if you need to put the location and the name of the file, just simply click on that. And here you'll also get page number on the right hand side, which is probably also useful. But if you got it at the top, you don't need it again. So you'd probably just use this one here. And because I've chosen footer, it'll automatically put that in the footer. Now, we're not able to see the footer for some reason the way we were able to see the header. But if we go to print preview, you'll see that the footer did work. Now, you're not able to see your header or your footer in normal view. So when you get to normal view, I'm going to go back to view here and back to normal. And you're not going to see your header or your footer in normal view. I'm just going to scroll over here. Okay, so don't look for it in normal view, but you will be able to see it when you go to print preview. In Microsoft Word, you see a grayed out version of your headers and footers, okay? But in Excel, you will not see that.